Hi there, I'm Woolly Wormhead and welcome to my channel. In today's tutorial, I'd like to talk to you about corrugated ribbing. Now, corrugated ribbing is something that can be used on the ribbed section of a pattern that has stranded colourwork. In this instance, it's going to be a hat because it's me, I talk about hats, but it might also be on the cuff of a sweater or on mittens or somewhere else. All right. It's a really lovely technique that can be used effectively to match the stranded colourwork, or you could even bring a different colour in if you wanted to. So I'm going to switch to the overhead. I'm going to show you what this looks like close up, show you kind of like what kind of stretch it has and how I manage the actual cast on itself. And then I'm going to show you how to do the corrugated ribbing and how to kind of keep even floats and stop it getting too tight. Okay, so here's that pattern I just showed you. At the time of recording, it's not published. It doesn't even have a name yet. This is a new collection I'm working on. So I'm afraid I can't share a link on that. But I want you to have a little look at this ribbing and the way that it stretches. Now, corrugated ribbing can have a bit of a reputation for being tight, and that's usually because the floats on the back end up being tight, and you want to have them nice and stretchy. Okay. It's the same with any other part of your stranded colourwork. You don't want to pull your floats too tight. You want to allow the fabric to have some stretch to it. And that's especially important with corrugated ribbing because it is the rib section of your project. It needs to have some give when it's worn. Now, I use the alternate cable cast on. It's my favourite cast on for ribbing. I'll link to it. And what I do is I work the alternate cable cast on. I work one row flat in the main background colour, and then I bring in the second colour and start the corrugated ribbing. Now, in some of my patterns, and we've talked about this on the forum, some people have found that the cast on edge can be a little bit loose or thicker stitches, bigger stitches maybe, or sometimes even curl up when they're working the alternate cable cast on with the corrugated ribbing. That's usually due to a difference in tension. So if you use the alternate cable cast on, maybe cast on with a smaller needle and then change as you go into the corrugated ribbing. There's going to be some slight differences in tension. So that's one way that you can manage that and stop this edge from curling up or appearing like it doesn't kind of belong. Now, when I do this particular edge, when I do the one plain round before bringing in the colour, I do it so that I match the lateral braid or Estonian braid that I put on patterns. I don't use this all the time on my stranded colourwork patterns, but I like the way that those edges match. I like that kind of symmetry. And then it can help you, this line, which I'll do a separate tutorial on, break into the body and still maintain a beautiful looking pattern. Now, this is another example where I have used corrugated ribbing, but this time there is no lateral braid. Now, this is a pattern called Hecate. It's from my Imperceptions collection. I have corrugated ribbing here. It's not as deep as this brim, but it doesn't have a lateral braid. It goes straight into the optical illusion pattern because I wanted to have that continuity from the brim into the body. So you don't have to work a lateral braid, but I still, if you look at this edge, see that I did the cast on one plain row and then joined in the round and brought in the second colour. So let me now just switch over and get my needles and I'll show you how to do this nice and neatly. Okay, so here I have some stitches that were cast on with the alternate cable cast on method, and I've worked one row flat in the background colour, and I am now ready to introduce yarn B, and this will be used on the knit stitches. So this colour will be the knit stitches, much like I did on this one. I cast on in the grey, worked one row of ribbing, and then introduced the pink for the knit stitches. Now, as you are joining in the round and introducing the second colour at the same time, it can be a little bit fiddly. Now, I normally recommend the two-handed stranded colourwork method for knitting two colours together, which I'll do a separate video for. But what I'm going to suggest to start with, because you need to have this yarn anchored over this finger here to work the technique, which is a little bit difficult to do when you work your first few stitches, I'm going to suggest that you actually just knit the first stitch with your regular knitting technique. Okay. And then leave that over there and bring in your yarn, your background colour, and work your first purl stitch. And now, take the yarn back, you've actually got a little bit of anchorage there, so your stitches are less likely to move around. You're not going to get in a bit of a mess or tangled up. As I say, introducing the second colour as you're joining them around is fiddly, but it's manageable. Just treat the first stitch as you would do regularly before going into using the picking technique. Now, this is what I recommend for the corrugated ribbing. I'm working the pearl in the background colour, and I'm using the picking technique to pick up the brown for my knit stitches, which is going to contrast really nicely against this green. Now, to help ensure that your floats do not get too tight, spread your stitches out on your needle as you work them. This will make sure that you get a nice even tension. Okay. This two-handed knitting technique for strandy colour work is not particularly intuitive to me. When I first started to learn it, loads of people have tried to teach me over the years. I'm an English thrower, so I'm a really messy knitter, and I used to use my right hand for managing both colours, and I'd get in a bit of a tangle. But I found that the picking technique and holding the yarn in my left hand wasn't particularly comfortable until I realised that instead of just having it held over my index finger, if I used my other fingers to hold it, it helped me tension it, and I got comfortable with it. Because I'm such a messy knitter, I need that extra tensioning, and this does it for me. I would say I will do a video separately on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on knitting until I get around to here, and I'll show you just the bridge in the gap across that first join in the round, just to make sure that you're comfortable doing that, and I'll show you how to manage it. All right. Okay then, I have worked now one round with the yarn B, the second colour on the knit stitches. You can see it coming through there. You can see this is nice and loose. So this is going to give my corrugated ribbing a good foundation and stop it being too tight. But we're at this point now where we need to kind of work the second round, and we've got a little bit of a gap here. Don't worry about that too much. If you find this gets stretched out, you can always neaten it up with the yarn tail as you weave in your ends. All right, it happens. It's also going to look slightly looser at this point because I'm going, look at this, they're loose. When you start to put extra stitches on it, it will even it all up. So I'm just going to put my yarns back where they would be when I'm holding them. The yarn B over the left index finger, and I'm just going to carry on now, and I'm just going to work the same tension that I have all the way through, making sure that my stitches are nice and loose. And then once that's got an extra couple of rows on it, or rounds, sorry, that's now not looking as loose as it was before. See? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to work a few more rounds on this, get a body to this corrugated ribbing, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like once I've done a bit more. And there we have the finished corrugated rib brim. I'm almost at the point, I think I maybe need to work one more round, and then I'm going to work the lateral braid, and I will do a tutorial for that as well. That brown looks really striking against the green. I actually rather like playing with reversing the colours to see which ones, whether she have dark as the main colour or light as the main colour. It's nice and stretchy. And I'm pretty pleased with that. Now you don't have to put an alternate cable cast on the bottom here. I've seen other decorative finishes to this, corrugated ribbing, but it's ribbing, and I like my hats to be functional, so I like to have a nice edge along there that's going to hold up and have enough stretch for the hat to go on and off. So that's why I do mine with alternate paper cast on. But if your pattern says otherwise, or you want to try something different, then give it a go. This is more about the corrugated ribbing technique, and I think that looks really, really cool. As we can see here, it looks so nice against the rest of the hat. Okay. I hope that's been helpful in showing you how to do the corrugated ribbing and some of the ways that you can make sure that it maintains enough stretch, how it works with the ribbed cast on, and even maybe how you can play with the colours, which one you have at the foreground or which one you have at the background. If you could do the like, follow, subscribe, etc. thing, I'd very much appreciate it, because I'm still growing my channel. I want to try and get as many of my techniques out and tips and tricks that I have for knitting out to other knitters so you can help you with your projects. Thanks for your time today, and happy hatting.